again. Welcome back to Women Are Talking. My name is T. Billy Martin. I am here to once again share my love and appreciation for film, television, music, literature, everything podcast now, everything creative. I have a lot to discuss, so I'm going to go right into it. Yes, I have a lot to discuss. First things first. Unlocked, a jail experiment on Netflix. Child. I wasn't ready for all of that. I was not ready for that level of reality, but I couldn't turn away from it. Okay, so this is what it's about. It's a sheriff of Pulaski County in Little Rock, Arkansas executes a... wrong word. The sheriff implements an experiment with inmates in this Little Rock, Arkansas jail. This was an interesting journey. Jesus Christ. This was an interesting journey. I say that with the utmost respect for the sheriff, the law enforcement, correction department, but also to the inmates' families. Like, the inmates' families. My heart goes to you all. My heart goes to you all. Because you in jail with them and you ain't even commit the crime. I was so in awe of so many things in this documentary series. The MVP, True Story, is True Story. That's his name, for real. His name is True Story. Very vibrant, very lovable. He's a great example of what, you want redemption to look like. And I'm sorry I got a loss for words for this film because there was so much to say. I was looking at it like, what? And huh? Yo, but this reality was in your face. It was in your face. I was struggling. Let me share this. I was struggling with my empathy for the inmates. We are human. We are human. We are natural feelers. We need people, to be able to function. We need to have some type of interaction to some sort, and I understand the disjustice. I understand what's wrong with what they call solitary confinement. I get it. It doesn't work. I get it. But watching this experiment, it kind of opened my eyes to, okay, yes, the correction part of that focus on correcting a problem, but they seem to have a lot of solutions in how to punish you for being bad, but lack awards for doing good. Now, one would say, if you do good, you wouldn't have been in there. I get it. But we passed that right now. We're not talking about that part. We talking about you already in there. You there? You did it? You guilty. We there. We talking about there. Okay? So we there. And we're sharing, these men are sharing their stories. Like, they're all different demographics and backgrounds and all such, and in there were all sorts of crimes, all of them felonies. They're in this part of the jail waiting either for court, their trial, or waiting to be shipped to the penitentiary. Sorry. This is a new world to me, but this is a world that I definitely am going to make sure that my son, that doesn't become a reality for my son. I know that. Now that I know what that look like that. Oh, you ain't gotta worry about this one. You're not gonna worry about this one. To see what these men go through to be able to hold on to that little bit of humanity that they have left. Really, because you can see how it can slip out and you're just going. But these men are in this stage, I guess, in this facility because they have some level of rehabilitation, if that's the correct word. So anyway, the sheriff decided that he was going to try this experiment where he going to give them some taste of freedom. And, you do good, you act right, you behave, no fights, no cuts, no stabs, no jickums and whatever. You'll get stuff like free phone and extra stuff that they want, outside time, just to be outside in the sun. You gotta, oh gosh, we so take freedom for granted. So for them to get these little extra, goodies, they gotta act right. And the only thing they have to do to act right is to be civil towards each other. That's it. Follow your rules, do your chores, and whatever, and just be civil. And it was so interesting to see the struggle to do such a simple thing. Now, maybe because my brain is the way it is, but if I was in that situation, 9 times out of 10, I'm there for murder. But I would be so fine with just a book, in the corner, and y'all do whatever you want. You need me to look out just as long as I have a book. I'm fine. But to see the struggle, how these men could not cope with let's just get along for 24 hours and we can get free phone time, we can get whatever, extra stuff. And it was a struggle for the simplest things that we take for granted. And that was my biggest eye opener on that, from that series. So thank you, Netflix. Thank you, Netflix, for making sure people like me kind of understand the struggle for these families and these inmates in that type of situation. And kudos to you, Sheriff. I don't know, what's in the water in Little Rock, but clearly, you're doing God's work. You're doing God's work. That's all I gotta say. But I will say the most impactful part of this story was seeing the lack of resources for those suffering with mental health. Now, one would say you suffering from mental health to even be in there, but I don't agree with that. Because there was some interesting thinkers up in there. But there were some struggles of mental health, and I feel that area of help needs more attention. I don't have any solutions. I don't have any recommendations. I'm not a psychiatrist. I just know a lot, and I wouldn't know what to recommend. But I will say that there need to be more resources available to help these inmates cope, survive, get out of their heads. In certain cases, there was a gentleman in there, he was suffering with suicidal thoughts, and he was just ready to stop living. And to hear him say that he just don't want to wake up the next day, it was heartbreaking. I get it. These are felons and they've done heinous things. So why feel bad for them? Because we're human. Because, that's just the human thing to do. I don't know. It has nothing to do with religion, Christianity, whatever. It just, if your heart beats, you're going to feel, you're going to have empathy, if unless you're a vampire. But that was a struggle. Like, dang, am I doing it? It was a struggle. It was a struggle, but I enjoyed these inmates' honesty. I enjoyed even, their courage to tell their stories, because that wasn't a hard thing to do. And so I appreciate the story. I appreciate everything about it. I thought it was shot very well too. Simplicity is everything, y'all. I keep telling, whatever. That's another conversation for another day. Moving on. Next film I want to talk about, child, X-Men 1997 on Disney Plus. What in the world? What's going on? What? Huh? Like, I'm looking at, huh? 19. Okay. Am I watching the same X-Men from 1997? I think not. I beg to differ. Because this thing done went HBO, Cinemax, all put together. What is going on with Rogue? When did she become a psychopath? When? She was homegirl from True Blood. Now next thing you know, she dropping like, oh gosh. X-Men 1997 on Disney Plus is not for the kids. It's not for the kids. It's not for the kids. So if you think that's something that you want to sit down and, ride down memory lane with your small ones so y'all can, enjoy this experience together, don't do it. Put them kids to bed, honey, and grab a glass of wine, because X-Men 1997 is going to take you somewhere that you ain't think you needed to go. It was a yeah. I want to ask the producers, why this story? like what did Wolverine do to you? Like, huh? What we doing? Cause y'all done got, I get it. It's a graphic, comic, but good luck. Y'all went there. The storytelling is like for real. And it make you forget about the childhood stories, the childhood cartoons that you grew up watching, that you loved watching. Because if that was what we were watching back in the day, then I need to talk to my parents, because we shouldn't have been watching that. I don't remember all that now. I don't remember all that. Gene, Yodo, but Magneto. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? You single, Ro don't want you. Magneto fine, okay? He fine. Rogue reminds me, why does she sound like Dolly Parton? And doesn't Storm sound like Angela Bassett? I didn't want to go to the credits and see who it was and spoiled it, but yeah. Anyway, moving on. Are you excited about Bridgerton? Yeah! I'm excited about the next season, the next installment of Bridgerton. I stay in Shondaland. Okay? I live there. I have property. I invest in the community. I am there. I am there all the way. Next one. I wanted to talk about this crazy show. Oh my God. Everybody is talking about it on Netflix. Baby Reindeer. Child. Baby Reindeer got me sweating. Baby Reindeer. Baby Reindeer. You know what? I enjoyed it. It was a hard watch now. It was definitely a dark comedy. Dark comedy at its finest, that's for sure. I'm curious to know why the director chose these reasons behind this story, and it reiterated my appreciation for British films. I have a thing about British films. I have a thing where I tend to always compare British films to American films in certain, on certain subjects. And what I enjoy most about British films more is their brutal honesty when it comes to violence. That sounds weird, but just follow with me. When it comes to British films, they go there. In Baby Reindeer, there are levels of violence that is shown. Like is they walked us through it. But violence is part of our life. Unfortunately, it's part of our society. So why, when we're reenacting a life story, why shy away from certain parts of it as though it never happened? And that's a problem in American films. We shy away from reality a lot to make it fancy and glittery and roses and unicorns, when that's not life. We have good things, we have good times, and we have bad times. And what I appreciate about British films, they're going to show you the good times, oh child, but they're going to show you the bad times too. They are not going to sugarcoat the bad times. And in Baby Reindeer, they showed every side of a bad time that you needed to see was in that show. We saw oh my God. We saw every angle of a bad side, child. We saw every angle of a bad side. I couldn't take it for a minute. I had to stop, go to Bible study, come back, reevaluate my life, and then go back to watching the rest of it with 3 bottles. It was a hard follow because of the mental trauma that this young man is going through. And if you haven't seen it, then fine, you haven't seen it. I'm not going to sit here and tell you not to. The only way I would tell you not to is because don't watch it because it's so violent and hostile. But like I said, it's part of life. I mean, people suffer through trauma. Things happen. And it's not fair to try to shy away from that. As horrible as it is to watch somebody be attacked or and put in harm's way of any sort, it happens. We don't want it to happen, but it happens. And when I think as a filmmaker, as a creative, you want to speak truth in your message, then when it comes down to violence, you should be able to do it there too. Be as honest in violence as you are in everything else. I'm so excited seeing the happy side of a wedding when I also see the bad side of weddings too. But we don't show that. And that's the difference between American films and British films. They gonna show you, baby. They gonna show it to you whether you want to see it or not. Ooh, child. Ooh, child. My favorite scene in that film was when the young man went to tell his parents about his YouTube performance and his confession of his assault. And he was being stalked by another mental health case, and her stalking him kind of helped him face what he chose not to face, not to deal with. So the man was groomed and raped. He was groomed, drugged, and raped. And he was able to get himself out of that, remove himself out of the situation, but he didn't seek help for it. He just chose to ignore it. It never happened, and pretend, try to live his life as though this didn't happen to him. But it did. And we all know that, when if you don't handle things like, when you don't handle trauma, when you don't address it, it comes up in other areas in our lives. And that's what happened to him. And he wants to be a stand-up comedian and all this and the third. And, he was doing all of the local clubs and making, working on his material and everything, and he got into a big comedy competition, and he's on the big stage, and this is his big chance, and he his brain went blank. That's at that point in time, the trauma that he was pushing back from surfacing, it stopped him dead in his tracks in one of the most important moments in his career. And he chose to, instead of closing it in, he just let it out. And he let it out on one of his biggest stage. And people had their phones out. Somebody recorded it and put it on YouTube, and everybody, not a world saw it, and and he started getting reached out to, and so on and so forth. And the stalker lady found him again, threatened his family and threatened his parents who live out in the country by themselves, being old and happy. And so he chose to do what's best, and went to his parents' home and to tell them, like, look, there's this video on YouTube. Yes, YouTube is a thing. It's on the internet. And this is, this happened to me, and I wanted to talk to you about it because I don't know what to do with this trauma. I don't know how it defines me. I don't know how to get through it. And so I didn't want you to find out from, other avenues by this crazy stalker lady. I want to tell you myself. So as he was sharing with his parents that, he was raped, he says, I don't know if you'll think less of me because this happened to me. And his dad, who's this alpha male, hug, shake hands, you don't hug, type of alpha, guy. He's sitting there and watching his son just be vulnerable, and his response to his son telling him that he was sexually assaulted, his response was, well, do you think less of me? And the son was like, huh? And I was so like, huh? Well, this ain't got nothing to do with you. But then it made you, wait a minute. What is he responding to? It made you do that. And I like when a director can make me do that. I like that. So the son said, this happened to me. And he says again, so because this happened to you, you think we'll think less of you? Do you think less of me? Because I went to Catholic school growing up. And then silence. And then we're seeing everybody's face of, you're seeing the message be translated in everybody's brains without dialogue. And I just thought that scene was awesome. It was awesome. We knew what happened to Dad without Dad having to go into it. All Dad said was, do you think less of me? Because it happened to me. I grew up in a Catholic school. I went to Catholic school. Do you think less of me, son? And we knew the story. That's all he said. And we knew the story. And I was like, oh my God. Give that man a hug. I was so hurting. I was hurting for him, but it was so, I thought it was important. I thought it was important to see something like that, because we don't see that in American films, that level of vulnerability in a masculine world. We don't see that. And it was so important for, I think, for that to be seen and told in that way. And then the dad got up, and I guess for the first time in his life that he can remember as an adult, his dad hugged him. And it was a genuine hug, and it was a loving, necessary hug. And that started the man's journey to heal. I'm telling you, this story was cray. It was all over the place, but you followed it. It was easy to follow. His relationship with the stalker lady kind of threw me off, because I was like, the way it ended now, I don't know how somebody buying me a drink can provoke me to commit my life to stalking them without sex. But evidently that's a thing. So I gotta be mindful of how generous I am when I go out. If you ain't got it, you ain't got it. Cause I can't, I can't do all of that. I can't. He was way more patient than I would have been ever. Like, no ma'am. So, moving on. The next show I want to talk about is Shogun on HULU or Disney Plus, or I saw it on HULU. That's where they're advertising, marketing directed you to watch it on HULU. But I kept seeing it on Disney Plus and it was confusing me. So I don't know who owned it, but it was HULU that introduced it to me. And so I watched it on HULU. Y'all need to stop that mess. Like, put the stamp on or something. Like, it's confusing. Who HULU? Or, who? Anyway, let me make sure I pronounce it correctly too. Let's see. Shogun. The show is called Shogun. It's a timepiece, 1600 century in Japan. Takes place of this British. We know this story, but Pocahontas. British sailor, pirate. Depends on who you ask. Visits, lands in Japan to send a message that the queen owns their territory because she says so. And Japan laughed in his face. So and said, "Oh yeah, we gonna show you," and that they did. Let me tell you about this series. Beautiful. If there's one word to describe this series, the one word that give it justice is beautiful. This show is beautiful. It's culture forward. I am not of Japanese descent. Clearly, it's not part of my story, but I appreciate the beauty in Japanese culture. The cinematography in this was so on the job. It kept you in awe. Even during the war fights, even how it looked, during the war fights. I love a film that gets me lost in cinematography. Like Black Panther 2. The cinematography was like, I want to stare at it forever. That's what it was, just so beautiful to watch. And with the costumes, even in Shogun, the costumes was amazing. It was beautiful. It was uniquely beautiful. The standout actress for me was the young lady that played Mariko. Now that the series is finished, now I'm gonna go find who she is so I can follow her in her other work. But the girl was so good. She was so good. She was bad. She was breathtaking. The control in her face. I'm like, girl, is Angela Bassett your auntie? She was so good. She was the one to watch, on this show. And she had she even went out with a G. She got blown up, after she done cheated on her husband with the white man. But it was a beautiful story. It was still a beautiful story. The authenticity of it, I can't say it is or isn't because it's not of my culture. But either way, I loved what I saw. It was beautiful. And if you got a problem with subtitles, stop talking to me. Just don't even say hi. Don't even wish me a happy birthday when you see it on the timeline. It was subtitled, and it was a beautiful film. Very rich. It had a rich feeling to it, even though it was 16th century, 1600s. It still had this rich feel to it, but the execution, style, tradition was amazing. And I enjoyed the simplicity in the culture. Most importantly, I enjoyed that. It's hard for me to describe why I loved this series so much, because it's not just one thing. Even to the men, to the relationships among soldiers and lords and whatever, like, even their dynamics was just so, oh my, so intense and emotional and dramatic, and like, the women was so muted because all the emotion was in the men. It was just so, but it was so great to follow. Like, everything had meaning, even if it didn't have meaning. If it didn't have meaning, that had meaning too. Why it didn't have meaning? It was good. It was a really, really good film. Go check it out. Go check it out. Yes, the white man survived. But so what? It's still a great story. If you are curious about the Japanese culture, maybe that'll be your intro, because that's a great intro. Next is Club Shay. Not just Club Shay as a whole, but one particular show interview that I recently watched on Club Shay is why I want to talk about it. And that's the interview with Amanda Seales. Now, we all are aware of who Amanda Seales is. She is a lot of things: actress, author, host, personality, activist, scholar. The girl's bad. She's bad. She did an interview on Club Shay, and it's being talked about. I wasn't going to talk about it. One of my homegirls that like wanted me to to talk about it, saw it first, and she started to tell me her thoughts on it, but she didn't really get to go into telling me all of her thoughts on it. But then when I heard it for myself, I was like, okay, we got two opposite views on this one. We got two opposite views on this one. So I'm just here to tell you my intake from that interview. I felt embarrassed for Amanda. I felt embarrassed for her. Let me start off by saying I am so proud of Shannon Sharp. I am so proud of Shannon Sharp and his Club Shay platform. It is the place to be right now. Cat Williams started off 2024 where we gonna be at? Boom, here it is. What he is doing with Club Shay, a lot of people wanted to do but couldn't. Maybe it had a lot to do with timing. I think it had a lot to do with poor production, or it just had a lot to do with inauthenticity. Whatever. However you view it, Shannon brought it. He did it. With Club Shay. He's bringing out the big names, and letting them speak their truth. For some reason, the interview with Cat Williams, like, jetted in a whole different level that no one saw coming except for Cat Williams, because he, he's a god, right? And it plummethed. It did. It just is. Now it's up there, and it's going to take a hard, it's going to take something big to bring that down, which I doubt it will. But this interview with Amanda Seales, yes. Oh, let me backtrack. I didn't say that. I loved the interview with Cat Williams. I laughed too. I tickled too. I he ha ha too. I tried to keep up with all the names, and I just couldn't because it was too damn many. So I just put the pen down and enjoyed the storytelling. Followed by Monique's interview. Same. Loved it. Felt it. Related to it. Appreciated it. And boom. And then I didn't listen to anything else, to be honest with you, because nobody else really grabbed me. But that's me and my preference. until Amanda Seales. So, boom, I finally got to listen to it. And within 5 minutes, I was regretting doing so. Because I'm listening to this profound woman, this educated, well aware, woke as hell, black woman, accomplished woman. Let me not say it like that, because I don't want to feel like I don't want to attack a person to put up another person. I don't need to do that. But I'm going to say the way this interview played out, Shannon was not ready for Amanda Seales. It was 3 hours long? 3 hours long. And there was no conversation about her activism. That is a huge part of her life. If you follow her and you are a big fan of hers and and stay in touch and connected in what she do, you would know that activism is a huge part of her life, of her everyday, of her everyday movements. And yet there was no question on it. That was the one of the, ending question marks for me on the interview. But in the beginning interview, my eyebrows kept raising because I was trying to understand Shannon's direction in his questions. Is he attacking her? Is he not or is he antagonizing? What depends on the person, depends on the answer, depends on the person. I think that he just wasn't prepared. Does that make sense? He just wasn't prepared for it. He wasn't prepared. Amanda is answering the questions to the best of her knowledge. It's her story she's telling. And as she's telling her story, she's being questioned as if her story is accurate or not. Now, I think I took that offensively because you can't tell me what my experience is. You can't tell me what I suffered through wasn't what I suffered through. And she was having to do that one time too many. And it was annoying. It was aggravating. It was embarrassing. And she handled it well. To see Amanda try to get her point clear so that he can grip it, resorting to football analogies for him to grip it. And it was still like he just refused. Did he refuse to see her? Did he refuse to accept who she is? Did he refuse to just, hey, this is not the person that everyone trying to make her out to be. She's this awesome woman. What was he trying to do? That's the crowded question. What was he trying to do? Because, I'm sorry about that, unprofessional. If he wasn't trying to make her look bad, then how were you trying to make her look good? I'm gonna leave that there. But Miss Seales, I just want you to know, if you're listening, I just want you to know that I believe everything you shared. I believed everything you shared because you shared some things that I experienced firsthand too as well. So I get it. I understand, the directions you took with certain groups of people. I have too. And not everybody's going to understand it. But I also learned through a fellow Libra friend of mine that people like us weren't made to be like everybody else. It's our responsibility to know that we're okay who we are as we are. That may be weird or different or whatever, but guess what? We're not the same as everyone else, and that's okay. That is A-okay. It doesn't make us any less than. anyone else. If anything, it makes us better. But I always say I'm a chosen child. I know I'm a chosen child. But just know that there are women, there are people out here that sees you and hear you and appreciate you So please don't give up on your movement, and know that we are out here too. We're watching, and the only reason why we are is because you are doing it honestly, genuinely, and I appreciate that. I so appreciate that. Mr. Shannon, I hope that you look back at this interview at some point in time and just take a step back and take accountability of the harm that you were causing, even though you weren't doing so intentionally. I hope that you take the time to do that because of women like me who follow your show now. I'm not a football person. They said you was a giant and a god on the field. I believe them. I don't know. So that don't do nothing for me. But to hear you and see you in Club Shay, I feel like I know you and I respect you, and how you handled the Amanda Seales interview. I'm disappointed in you. So I'm hoping at some point in time you would take a step back and just take a look or re-listen and try to see what we saw, and try to, take another look, listen to what she was trying to say to you that you were missing, because you were missing, bruh. You were missing. I don't know if it was because you were feeling intimidated by her intelligence. That wasn't the. I was kind of surprised. If that's the case, then I'm surprised, because you are comfortable in your skin, and that's one of the reasons why we like you. You're comfortable in where you at. So to interview someone like Amanda, yeah, you do have to be prepared. You know who you're talking to in her entirety, but you can't dismiss or belittle her experience to make you feel up to her level, because that is insulting within itself. I hope you understand what I'm saying. If you don't, I don't know what else to do. But you got a sister that you love and a daughter that you love. And would you want somebody to dismiss their experience when they're telling you something traumatic that happened to them? I already know the answer to that question. But I just hope you take a step back and just, take a listen. And when you do, and you get it, you see what we see and feel the disappointment, understand the disappointment that we feel, that you do something about it, I don't know if she likes flowers or whatever, but I think that'll be a great gesture. Just do something to acknowledge, to make sure that she feels seen. Because that's more than anything, that's what we want. We want to know that you do see us in our full form as is. Even if you don't understand us, we want you to see us. So that's all I got to say about that. So there are two books that I wanted to read, autobiographies that I listened to. The first one is it's a surprise one here. Britney Spears, The Woman in Me. Child, Miss Britney, on the behalf of the human race, I apologize to you for feeling entitled to your life when I am not. I have no right to expect anything of you just for sheer entertainment. You are a human being as I am. You deserve to be happy as I am. You are a beautiful girl with a beautiful heart and deserve to be happy regardless, no matter what that happy look like. If you want to wear a bikini, tic-tac bikini somewhere on the Gulf of France, and while you're twirling a paper clips or two, do it, honey. I want to see whatever you want to do. If it puts the biggest smile on your face, I want you to do it. I want you to do it. I don't need to understand it. I just want to know that it makes you happy. Because I think from listening to your book, that is what you need. The world sees the Britney Spears, but don't see you. And listening to your book, I see you now. And now that I see you, I want you to know, not only do I see you, you are a beautiful girl. You are a beautiful woman. You are a wonderful mother. And you will deserve to be happy in any and everything you do. Okay, honey? You are awesome. I don't want to do the you is kind, you is smart. I ain't doing that. But you do, but you know. If you don't, I'm telling you now. You're a special girl and you deserve the best. I'm so sorry that your family put you through that. And it's wow. I mean, I knew it was bad just from hearing it in the tabloids and whatever, but to read, to hear the story firsthand like that, I'm sorry you went through that. I'm so sorry you lived through that. And I'm gonna pray for your safety, yours and your son's. I'm gonna pray for your safety every day. I'm not gonna speak of your family because what more can be said, and it's just. I just want you to know that you are loved and you matter. That's it. That's all I wanted to say. So go check out her book and or listen to her book. Just so you know, I was kind of taken back when listening to the book. It was Michelle Williams reading the book. It was Michelle Williams reading a book. And the actress Michelle Williams, we all love her. We love Miss Michelle. And I was like, she don't sound nothing like Britney, but whatever. I guess they friends. Britney did the opening remarks and whatever. And she said, I can't live this story again. I lived it the first time. I can't, and I had to live it again and write the book. I can't do this again. I get it. When I heard the story, I say, yeah, I was wrong for feeling robbed that she didn't read the book when she shouldn't have had to. She lived this craziness. So sorry for expecting that of you. You didn't have to even explain. My apologies. And I still appreciated Michelle's reading the book, even though it felt like, we're just two girlfriends and she's just reading over the book, reading something to me that she read. I don't know. But it was still a good read. Listen, it was a good listen. The next book I want to share is, it already got me laughing. Leslie Effin Jones by Leslie Effin Jones. This book is the shizzle. And don't buy the book, buy the audio book, because the audio book, she is not reading the damn book. She got bullet points and she's commenting off of the bullet points. Yo, that book is so funny. It is too funny. It's just, I felt like I invited her over for dinner and we throwing back vodka shots. Chit-chatting about her life stories. That's what the book feels like. It don't feel like nobody is reading it, because she not. There's no way she is reading a book like that. She's just talking. She's just telling the story and referring to the book for notes to make sure she don't forget nothing, But the book is so good, it makes you forget that you're listening to her book that she actually wrote. But go check her out. Miss Leslie Effin Jones. I so gained even more respect for her. Appreciate what she's doing, and I love her work, and I love that she's funny as hell and so freaking down. I can't wait to meet her just so I can give her some dap or whatever. I gotta invite her over for spades or something, because I know she gets down. But anyway, that's the end of the show. Thank you so much for watching. Check out some merch that I have, that I sell on Handmade Only USA. It's on Etsy. Also, make sure you support other Black businesses, like the earrings I just took off because they're kind of heavy. These golden leaf earrings. And hello there. T-shirt, if you haven't noticed by now, put two and two together. They're by the one and only Tabitha Brown. She's everywhere, and I love her stuff. And I just wanted to wear her stuff today. I also have like a dress. I have one of her sun hats, her swimsuit, and the towel to it. I have a lot of stuff. I have a lot of her stuff, and I love it. So my next phase is to get a bunch of her seasonings, so I can have like a rack of just her seasoning stuffs. That's my next phase. But yeah, make sure you go check out and support a Black business of any sort to your liking, and encourage someone else to do the same. Be sure to follow Women Are Talking TV on Facebook and YouTube. Subscribe so that you get the notification and all that stuff. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter. Email the show. If you have comments or you have shows that you want me to check out, and so we can chit chat about, just email me. That's the best way to reach me, is email. Just so you know, if you're wondering, no, I'm not big on DMs, but I am on Twitter. I am on Twitter because I live tweet. I comment on the shows I watch live, so I'm on Twitter more than anything. But if you just want to send a message, send an email is the best way to get directly to me. And yeah, that's all I got. Until next time, folks. Bye. Wait, this weekend so today is May 10th, right? May 12th is Mother's Day. But it's also the return of Interview with a Vampire on AMC Plus, whichever two, whatever. So I am going to be talking about that show in the coming weeks. So I might be doing more frequent tapings because I'm going to have to talk about it. I love that show. I'm so glad they waited to come back and tell the story. I'm so glad that they did that for me. And Lestat, oh my God. Okay. I'm going to be spending Mother's Day with vampires. Okay, all right. But until next time, folks, bye. And be safe out there.